All right, hello. So right now we have two people that join and other in the room, and I will give the permission for somebody else to keep adding people. Also, this session is recorded, so what we will do at the end of the sessions, we will kind of break it down for pieces so we can let people to view the parts that they're interesting to basically to understand better. Let me finish here the process. All right, and give permissions. Okay. All right. So that part has been done. All right. So let's first understand what is it that we're going to talk about today. We're going to cover a few stuff. First, we're going to cover what has been changed and why. We'll cover what the current status of those changes, where are we standing. We will talk about when the product will be launched. Then we'll also talk about when the token himself will be launched. We'll cover a few stuff around what are the marketing plans are. And during that session, between and after, we will also touch base with the questions that we have. We have a list of questions that we will basically cover them all. If somebody will add a real-time question right now, I may not see it, but whatever been added already, it will be covered. We will not talk about today about all the projects that in quantum finance. We'll pretty much stick with stuff that's related around smart. So we'll talk about smart, degen, damper shield, PDO, direct stuff that basically needed to launch it and stuff that's working with that. So they kind of will give the full picture. So let's start by talking about first what has been changed and why. And I will make sure that everybody will be muted. All right.
Let's go.
We are going. All right. So, okay. So let's start to talk about what has been changed and why. First thing first, when we built the smart swap, back then it was designed to solve liquidity issues on the blockchain when it comes to cross-chain. And when we started to build it, there was no much cross-chain technology out there, at least not decentralized one. And instead of focusing on solving liquidity issues and improve that, we basically took ourselves the mission to also build a cross-chain by ourselves, a decentralized one. Now, building a cross-chain decentralized technology, it's extremely costly, extremely taking time, and it's not really easygoing. Just in the last year or two, you can see that almost every cross-chain, including multi-chain yesterday, been hacked. And we're talking about billions over billions that have been hacked. And the reason for that is because the way that cross-chain has been designed is that the component that basically doing the breach himself, it's a server side. And since it's a server side, it's vulnerable. It's not decentralized. So what that means is that once you have a project and it's really scaling, there will incentive for bad actor to basically attack you and steal that money. And we try to build something that is completely decentralized, and we actually succeed to do that. And we even provide kind of a beta between BNB through Ethereum to Polygon, and we showed that we able to move between native token to native token in a very decentralized way. It took us a lot of time to do that, but at the time that we finished to do that, we also realized a few stuff. Number one is that other cross-chain in the market been built, but it didn't been built as decentralized. They've been built either fully centralized or hybrid of centralized. And they gain a lot of traction, right? Like bill and daily trading or whatever. They already been there and they've been known, and everybody started using them. And when we investigated what's going on, I mean, 3 years ago, everybody talked about decentralized, and suddenly nobody really cared about decentralized at all. And we realized during our investigation that users have a different needs. So when users want to move from token in chain A to token in chain B, they don't really care if it's decentralized or not decentralized. What they really care is, number one, is the fast, how fast the transaction will take. So if somebody will have 20-minute time waiting versus instantly, they will prefer the instantly as a first priority. And that's because when people moving from token to token, usually they do that because they think that the other token himself or maybe can be used to buy other token, and it will be used as an investment vehicle.
Hey, Yoda, the sound is off. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, cool. So I will go a few seconds back and say one thing that we realize is that user preferred speed, cost, and then at the end, they pay attention, if any, to if it's a decentralized or not decentralized. And what we discovered is that in the user mind, it's like they're operating in daily basis against bank. So for example, with bank, we all know that bank potentially can have run on the bank, right? Theoretically, the money can be gone. But when we put our money in the bank, we don't think it will happen to us and not today, right? Even though the potential is there. So same thing happening with the cross-chain. People know that it potentially can be hacked, but they don't think that they will be the victim or it will happen to them and it will happen today. So what that means for us? That means that basically when we build smart, and invest a lot of time and effort to build something, we also realize that it's not really scalable in the way that we build it, because it's designed to kind of do something with third-party and centralized exchanges, and they're not really designed to work well. They have tons of issues, and we try it and we change it and we pivot that, and we realize that even if we build something that is decentralized, it's not really scalable, which means we'll not be able to support billions of dollars trading if suddenly they will coming in the door. And that's basically caused us to think furthermore and say, okay, let's assume for a second that there will be a lot of cross-chain, right? A lot of bridge out there. Some of them will be centralized, some of them will be decentralized, some of them will be one token to the end token, some of them will be wrap token. So let's say there will be all kind of them, right? Some of them will be big, small. Now, what have in common for all those cross-chains is that they're all going to take time. And the reason that they're going to take time is because if you're moving money from Ethereum to Bitcoin or Bitcoin to BNB or BNB to Polygon, when you're moving between cross-chain, especially if you're moving between different network of cross-chain, so for example, Cosmos versus Ethereum or Ethereum versus Bitcoin, the time waiting, right, will not be instant. It cannot be instant. It can never be instant. And that's because if it will be instant, chain can basically run 51% attack on the other chain and basically steal the money and take it back. So every chain, if you remember 3 years ago, Polygon lost all their money. They lost completely $800 million of funding because that issue. And since then, they decided that when you're moving from different chain, they want to see how many block pass before they basically approve that your money is safe and acceptable. So what he's telling you is that some chain will be, if they're in the same network, let's say an Ethereum network, they may be faster. It could be 2 minutes, 5 minutes around that neighborhood. But if you go in between different neighborhoods, let's say you go to Cosmos network or Bitcoin, that's going to play a lot in the next year or two, you're going to see a lot of smart contract going to be operated on Bitcoin in sidechains involved. So what that means, moving between Bitcoin to Ethereum or Polygon or Polkadot, that can take 10 minutes, that can take 20 minutes. Sometimes it can take an hour or two, right? So this issue is not going away. It's here and it's here to stay. And we took a new challenge to basically solve that issue in a new way. And I will explain how. Another thing that we decided is that we don't want to be a cross-chain anymore. We don't want to build cross-chain. We don't want to maintain cross-chain because it's like a thief and a police. You know, each one of them try to overcome each other, and it's never ended. The thief have incentive to steal. The police have incentive to catch them. And wherever the money is, eventually there is incentive for bad actors. So we decided that we don't want to touch money at all, which means our system will not going to hold money. Our system is not going to have reserve of money. We're not going to have any pools. We're not going to have any liquidity. We're going to operate in a way that even if somebody will hack in some way, there is nothing to steal, right? And I will show and share my screen in a second more. Now, on top of that, basically solving the speed between cross-chain, we also want to provide to the user something new. And here is when I will share my screen, and I will share, if you will go, by the way, to smart.exchange, you will be able to see the new UI, right? And basically, the new UI of Smart is no longer exchange or cross-chain. You'll see it's a different, basically, language. We basically built something new, which is layer 2 of a virtual wallet. So what that means is that everybody has its own wallet. Let's say you have MetaMask, or you have Trust Wallet. So the security of your wallet is going to stay with whatever provider you chose, right? But once you will basically have a layer 2 virtual wallet, and that's the first of its kind, by the way, you will have ability to deposit money into your own layer 2 wallet, but it will be secured from security point of view with your own private key, which means you're the only one that have access to that. It's completely decentralized and self custody. Now, by depositing money to your own wallet, what we can do here, it's amazing stuff. Number one, we can basically compensate users with reward. They can basically do farming and accumulate more token of the token that they have, and I will explain in a second how, as a self-custody, which means if today you have tokens on MetaMask, you don't earning anything by holding them. But in your virtual wallet, you will be able to earn more tokens, and I will explain how. Another thing that we'll be able to do is basically to allow user to use their virtual wallet in order to create something new as a new type of market making. Because you have a wallet, virtual wallet, that means that theoretically you can place limit orders, but without placing them. So imagine to yourself that when you go to, let's say you go to Binance and you're a market maker. If you're a market maker on Binance, you need to actually put orders in the order book and you need to lock your money, right? And if you're doing it in decentralized environment, it's very costly because every time you basically placing money in the order book or removing that because the market changed, it costs you gas and cost, and it's killed the idea of market making on decentralized platform. But with the virtual wallet, you can basically place order, limit order as much as you like without paying gas, without paying fee, and only when the actually transaction will take place, when your order will be accepted, then it will be basically called from your virtual wallet and take the money from there. So theoretically, if we will integrate an AI technology, not that we built, we don't want to get into the AI and build AI. I'm sure there is other application out there that capable to be integrated to that. If we will allow people to basically integrate their own AI, or maybe we'll find a provider for that, theoretically, you can automatically place order, limit order as a market maker and do arbitrage without spending fees and gas, and only use the money when it's actually needed. And until then, you accumulate APY and reward from holding it in your virtual wallet. Now, besides that, the layer 2 is also reducing swap cost, and I will show you in a second how. And we talked about the expedite. And not only that, we also decided that the entire layer 2, the virtual wallet, will be a one-stop shop. And what I mean by that is then when Steve Jobs decided to build the iPhone, he didn't decide to build a phone. Phone was existed for a very long time. And what he decided to do is that instead of you to have your notebook and you have a calendar and you have other stuff around you, he decided to put everything in one device. So you will have a one-stop shop to organize your life. And that's exactly what we did with the layer 2. So the layer 2 is basically will come as an extension, or it will come as a cell phone app. Right now, it's available. If you will go to install the Smart Exchange, you'll be able to click on it. It will take you right now to the beta. and you will be able to install the beta, right, on your browser. And what that means is that once the beta will be installed, it will look like that, right? It will be on your site, and it will be open every time you will go to DeFi protocol. If you will go to exchanges, decentralized exchanges, any place that you're supposed to do transaction, it will pop up for you and show you a better price, and I will show you that in real time. Now, besides that, you have obviously ability to organize your entire stuff. So for example, if you will come over here and decided that you want to add more icons, right, to your stuff. So let's say I want to add, CoinGecko, right? So if I will add in CoinGecko, right, basically I will have the app of CoinGecko. I can keep it over here. I can put it under different tabs. I can change the name. I can add more shortcuts, or I can place it here on the side, right? And basically it will be kind of organized for me every time I want to go to CoinGecko. One click on that will take me to CoinGecko. Now, beside that, what I also can do here on the extension is not just having all my shortcuts in one place, but also I can organize an app. And what I mean by that is that we're going to bring all the apps that exist on App Store, sorry, not App Store, on Play Store, Google Play Store. All of them will be here. And what it will allow you to do is to basically add them by one click to wherever you want. And by doing it like that, I will show you an example of how it will look like. But it's still under development, this part. See if I can see it here for you. That's the post. Okay, so you probably can see it maybe here. If you will go here, you may see it as an example of screenshots. So basically, you can add your icon, your app that you have. We don't need anybody to build a special app. Actually, if the app exists on Google Play, it will exist on your extension, and you will be able to add as many as you like. And by adding them, they will be built inside of your extension, and you will be able to use them. So if you have an app that, I don't know, follow other people's wallet, or you have an app that's showing you how bullish the Bitcoin is, or you have an app that's showing you YouTube clips of your favorite influencer. So imagine to yourself that you don't know Zillion Babylon, you don't need any more Zillion Babylon Windows, a browser, you have extension, and you can basically do that. And if you need alert, you can also set alert to basically let it pop up when news coming in, or when opportunity coming in, or if you want to analyze something. So it will be kind of a one-stop shop. Now, on top of that, we're also going to implement ability to do kind of a Gmail, but between decentralized Gmail. Imagine yourself that somebody have a wallet, but you want to stay anonymous. So you will be able to text people, right? And receive text between other people, wallet to wallet. So you don't need to know what's the name of the person. You can actually send information for one person to another. And that's something that we're implementing right now. And it will be kind of, I think, the first decentralized email that will allow you to interact between wallets like that. It's completely free, beside obviously the gas cost that you will bear. So basically, this is the extension. And if we will see example, right? Let's say I'm going to Uniswap, right? So if I will go to Uniswap, and I will want to do a swap, right? So let's say I go to Uniswap and I'm choosing, I don't know, BNB to USDT to see what's going on here. So basically the idea, let me see if I'm logging in. One chain, all right. First that. So every time you'll go to exchange, like Uniswap, you will be able to basically get that pop-up that will try to find you a better prices. It will not give you less than what you get. It will find you better than what you get. So every time you will do that, I will show you here a few examples. So let's say I'm going to do, let's start from ETH. So I change for ETH first. Right. So let's say I do ETH USDT. Right. And let's see what Uniswap is giving us, right? And what the Smart giving us, right? So Smart given better price than Uniswap, right? If I will try to go between, let's say, USDT to 1 inch, for example. Here I interrupt. I'm not supposed to interrupt. Second, 1 inch USDT, but we want the other way around. That's fine too. Say we want $1,000. 1 inch. Let's see what we get. Now everything is still kind of under development, so you will see it more and more improve when we keep adding more and more integration to that. But eventually it will cover all the because it's driving, the price is driving from Degen, and I will talk about Degen in a second. Right now we don't cover everything on Degen, but you will see eventually that you will cover everything that exists in the market. So it will be obviously all the time better price. Here you can see it's still better price than Uniswap. If I will go instead of even, let's try Uni. Let's try ETH and Uni, because Uni is the official token of Uniswap. So let's say I want to do ETH to Uni. And let's see here. Oh, ETH, sorry. Because there is no issue here. Right, so you can see that even Uniswap, that they have the Uni token, we basically display better price than Uniswap himself for the own token, right? Now, if I will go from, let's say instead of Uniswap, I will go to, I don't know, let's go to DeFi Llama, which they're claiming that they are aggregator without cost, which means they're claiming that there is no cost at all, right? So let's assume for a second that I'm going from ETH to 1 inch on DeFi Llama, and let's open Degen. And I will basically, here I'm not using the extension DeFi Llama because we didn't get integrated to pop up. So I want to take the price directly from Degen just to compare. So here it's Ethereum network. We'll go on Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum. What was it? 8 and 1 inch. So let's say 8 and how much was it? 10. So 10 8, right? So here we have basically compared to the DeFi Llama that is an aggregator without any fee at all. you can see here that here they're presenting basically 60,276, and Degen presenting better price than that aggregator. If I will go to actually 1inch himself, which is also an aggregator, right? And let's see what's going on over there in 1inch. I wonder if we will do on 1inch, actually 1inch, right? Like the on token, because that's supposed to be a very good price for the on token. Let's say kind of 10 inch for 1inch. So here it's 303, and we still present a better price than 1inch himself, right? Now, if we will go to cross chain, let's say Sushi, right? Sushi has a cross chain. Let's say we go to Sushi Swap. And we're going to do cross chain. So let's say we're doing cross chain. Let's do where's the cross chain? Here we go. So let's say we're doing actually ETH and arbitrage, right? So let's see what's going on here. Now you need to remember that a lot of cross chain do not really give you the end token that you're looking for. They sometimes give you wrap ETH on Arbitron or wrap ETH on BNB. So that's something that's happening a lot, but not here. So here we basically have the ability to give the end token himself. So that will be which token we're looking for. We're looking for connect wallet. So it will just it's displaying without connecting. That's fine. Okay, here. And how much was it? 10 each, right? Let's see when it comes to cross-chain, how Degen basically, and Degen and Smart extension basically driving the same prices, but I will touch base in a second when it comes to the cross-chain itself as expedite. So you can see here that when I go to Uniswap as a cost chain is presenting 50,954, and Degen presents 60,720, right? So basically, the idea was to build a technology that not only brings all the prices, but also do inside work in order to optimize those prices, meaning the smart contract do not going to choose the best DEX or the best aggregator or the best whatever, is going also to break the order on the same transaction and send it to different direction in order to optimize the price. Meaning that if you want to swap from, let's say, E to R, but direct swap will bring you 50,946. Maybe by going from ETH to BNB and BNB to USDT and USDT to ARB will bring you by far better than basically that price. So a lot of cross-chain do not really do that. They just have cross-chain, and most of them have just wrap token on the other side, which means you still need to stack the wrap token. Hopefully, the exchange didn't hack during that time, and your wrap token was worthless. But then you still need to take that wrap token and go to another DEX and swap that wrap token to the destination token that you're really looking for, right? So I showed you basically the idea of how Degen work and how basically the extension, the new smart works. So the idea of the smart is, like I said, it's like, be like a smartphone. So you have like one place, one-stop shop that all your life, all your crypto life, news, pop-up alerts, following other people when they're moving money, you can have alert, everything, texting to each other like a Gmail, decentralized Gmail, everything that you need, everything will be organized in one place. And every time that you will go to exchange, let's say you go to Uniswap, SushiSwap, it will pop up. And what I'm trying to say by that, I don't want people to come to exchange to move it from token A to token B. I want every time they're about to do transaction to basically pop up them a better offer. Now we kind of use that idea. If some of you remember or familiar with this application over here, this application called Rakuten. So Rakuten is basically an idea that every time you're about to go buy something, let's say you go to buy a computer, right? They will pop up for you the same brand, not something else, the same brand with this different price, which means they don't try to solicit at you to buy a computer. They try to hijack your transaction because you're about to buy a computer and they may save you $100, right? So that's why they are a multi-billion-dollar company, because they're basically helping people to get more than what they already need or want and about to do. And same thing the smart will do. It will be extremely smart to work with you as a one-stop device that will serve you whenever you're about to do something. It will pop up and offer you a better price. Now let's talk about the extension from, let's talk about the expedite concept, right? Because that's a very powerful solution that will change the game when you're doing a cost gen, right? So what that means is that imagine yourself that user park money in their own wallet, right? Their own virtual wallet. So let's say a lot of people park Ethereum, or they park Uniswap, or they park Shiba. Now, what that means is that if suddenly there is a user that want to move from chain A to chain B, right? Let's say you want to sell ETH, but you want to buy Shiba, right? So not only that you want to do cross-chain, but you also want to sell the BNB or the wrap ETH and buy Shiba. You don't want to end up with wrap ETH. You want to end up with Shiba. That's your end goal as a user, right? So here you have two transactions. Once you need to cross-chain, then you need to take the wrap token and buy Shiba. And second, so it's kind of a lot of clicks and a lot of gas and fees. But second, you also have time consuming, because there is the network that need to wait for 51% attack. So it can be a few minutes up to even more, depending from where you're crossing. Now, what if you can have an expedite ability? What if by crossing, let's say I want to cross from, Polygon to BNB, and I want to on Polygon, I want to take I don't know, whatever token, even this one, and I want to move to something else, which is like we say SHIB, right? So let's say I want to move from here to here, right? So by doing that, right, let me change back to BNB. Right. So basically, by moving from
Hey Yoda,
Yep.
is the beta not working? Because I was trying to do it with you and mine's
Yeah,
not
some
working.
of them, if you will test it on some chain, it will work. Some of them will continue to work during that. We tried in the last 48 hours to add as many as possible, but some of them working, some of them not yet. So if you will try to go from, for example, let me tell you which network already exists. So it's bringing the prices and everything, right, in real time. But if you actually want to do cross, you can do BNB, Polygon, Avalanche. It may show you those stuff. Which network am I? BNB, smart, BNB. So the main idea is that once you're doing cross-chain, there is here an expedite ability, right? So what it will do, it will show you basically, do you want to proceed as is, or do you want to expedite the order? Now I want to explain what is expedite meaning. Expedite meaning that if you want to give away token A, doesn't matter which one, and you want to receive, let's say, Shiba on Binance Smart Chain, what will happen, the layer 2 virtual wallet will basically take Shiba from users, right, that park virtual wallet, give you Shiba immediately, right away. And then what will happen after a few minutes, when your original transaction will send to the cross chain and then sold and then by Shiba, it will deposit back to those users the original Shiba. So they basically get the same token, right? There is no sell here. There is no tax trigger. They're getting the same token that they gave it to you, but with delay of few minutes, but they will get more. Why they get more? Because when you expedite, there is a cost. If you don't expedite, there's the traditional cost that usually CrossChain and exchanges have. But if you want to expedite, there is expedite cost. And basically that brings more money to the virtual wallet holders, right? So that's, we call it basically decentralized arbitrage. So every time basically you want to expedite, that's what will happen. Token will be given to you instantly, and your original token will give to whoever gave it to you after a few minutes, right? So you can call it it's not flash loan, but it's short loans, right? That basically give to those users more money. So what that means for you as a user? That means for you as a user that if the CrossChain crash, right? Let's say the CrossChain in the second that you've done it, it's been hacked and go under, you don't have a risk. The risk being buried by the user that expedited for you. So that's the only risk that they're taking. And what that means for you, if you're coming from Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Polkadot, and Cosmos, instead of waiting 5 to 3, half an hour, depending where you're coming from, you will have instantly the end token that you're looking for. And those that expedite you will get the same token plus extra for the fees after a few minutes, half an hour, and an hour, right? When the original transaction will be finished. So that's the expedite idea of the CrossChain. So not only that it gives you the best prices, same chain and CrossChain, but also it basically will allow you to expedite. Now, since the vault basically allow user to deposit money to the vault, you need to take under consideration that we do not have any security here, which means we are relying on the security of your own wallet. So whatever it is, if you're good with this security, if you're good with MetaMask security, that's the same security, right? And we do not hold anything. We don't have pool, we don't have custody, we don't hold anything. You holding it in your own smart contract as a self-custody, which means you can anytime call the money, and only you can call the money, right? Because it's your own private key. So that's why it's extremely safe. And when you do that, basically getting more and more money when you park in your money in your own vault, because it's working for you. Either it's working automatically when people expedite, or you decided that you want to go and become to be a market maker and you want to place virtual order manually or automatically using an AI, and it will basically only going to execute those orders when the order will be take place, right? Josh, did you try to say something?
Yeah, I was just because I mean I was trying to do it on Uniswap with Ethereum, and it just says the network is Ethereum.
Yet. So use I read back to you which one is available right now. You can use Polygon, BNB, and Avalanche. So Binance, Polygon, Avalanche. In a few days, we'll add Ethereum and everything else. We have we need to add a lot, so it's a little bit take time. You see all those chains, we have access to all of them already with all the prices and everything, because they are the same one that we have on Degen, right? So as you can see, we cover all those chains, but we also need to extra mile with the extension. So if you will go to the chain that I say, you will be able to actually swap stuff immediately. And in a few days, we'll keep adding more and more and more. So by the end of the month, you will have all of them up and running.
All right.
Right now, you need to take under consideration that the extension is alpha beta, right? So we work very fast in order to use technology that we already built and kind of pivot that into a new direction. A lot of stuff not yet available, but as we work, we will continue to add them, but we will not work as a waterfall. We will not wait until everything will be ready. Every time something ready, we'll push that on daily basis, so it will be available for you. So some of the stuff available immediately, some of them will be continuing to be added on daily basis, but it can be good to go right away in order to start using it as is and try to enjoy from that. All right, so let's move on. By the way, the Degen that you see over here, same thing. We already implement a lot of smart contract behind it, and a lot of Degen is basically it's not just an aggregator. It's everything. It's aggregator to aggregator. It's basically multi-chain. It's a cross-chain. It's basically breaking the order, like I said, in many ways. So it's unlikely that you may find a better price out there after we'll finish to integrate everything. Even now, it's hard to find better prices out there. And if you find any, we will immediately integrate those smart contracts, so we'll have same price. So the way that Degen works is that there is a fee, right? But the fee is dynamic, which means if there is any price in the market that is far below Degen, Degen will take a fee, right? Like 0.1%. But if there is no better price, Degen will reduce the fee, even if necessary, all the way to 0, which means you will never going to have better price. You may have the same price in some places, but never better, right? And that's the idea of Degen, to basically to be a place that you can get the best price in the market. And since he's doing what I said with the cross-chain and everything, and he's also going to work later on with limit order with the extension, that means it will be able to perform by far better than aggregator that exists out there in the market, like 1inch or SushiSwap and all those. It will be by far better because it will be able to break the order and do limit order and break the order and bring it and flip them between many cross-chain and multi-chain. So the end goal will be cheaper and faster. All right. Let's talk about the Damper Shield, because Smart and Degen basically exist on the Damper Shield right now. So a lot of people basically don't know what is the Damper Shield is, but I want to be clear about it. You may saw a lot of exchanges out there. You may saw a lot of decentralized exchanges out there. But how many exchanges did you see for a vesting token? There is not even one, right? And what's happening, it's crazy because when token launch, usually all the new tokens in the market, the majority of the token is under vesting, right? The majority. It's not like Ethereum that is already mature and most of the token is out. Most of the new projects, the majority of the token, they're under vesting. Now, what everybody is doing in the last 2-3 years is basically doing vesting schedule, which means they lock in the token for a period of time, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever. And sometimes they're releasing a little bit every few days or weeks or months. But the end goal of those release and the end goal of the big release is that every time, and you can go and check me out, every time it's happening, there is a big dump in the market, which means the project, whatever it is, doesn't matter which one, is dumping. It's dumping because everybody racing to the bottom. And it makes sense because there is in psychology, there is something called game theory, the prison dilemma, which means when user behind the when user behind vesting time and other user behind vesting time, they're both thinking between themselves, should I hold, which is benefit me, or should I dump because I think the other user will dump too? And every one of them think the same. And because they're all assuming that the other guy will dump first, they basically try to dump beforehand. And that's why all the project really crashing when the vesting is over, or even when you're releasing 5% or 10% in the beginning or during the time, it's enough to crash the token. The Damper Shield designed in a different way. Number one, how long you're behind the Damper Shield, it's not us to the detriment. It's basically depend on the user. They can vote to extend it or to make it shorter. They can release themselves right away if they like to. It's all votable. And by the way, Degen was behind the Damper Shield, it was expired, and the user themselves vote to extend the time for even more. And why they did that? They did that because they know that they can drive liquidity behind the Damper Shield, and I'll explain in a second how, without hurting the price. Because if you have a big amount of token and you go to the market with small fish, they will dump 50% below the market just to make $100 profit, right? So they don't really big holder, but they don't mind to lose $50 just to do 50x on their dollar investment, right? So big investors do not want it. And that's for when they're voting to extend that. Now, the idea of the Damper Shield is basically to have a flexibility, not just by decentralized OTC. I will get in to show you more. So when you go in behind the damper shield, you basically will see that there is the OTC exchange and there is the liquidity gateway, right? And the OTC exchange basically designed to allow people to buy from each other the token, but in a way that cannot hurt the token in the market. Because you're behind the damper shield, you don't really interrupt with whatever the price in the market is. So if people basically listing, and when you go to the damper shield, you can either place a bid or an ask to sell. So when people basically placing a bid on an ask, other people can come and basically decide how much they want to buy, right? All of that, some of that. You don't really need to know those people. You don't need to interact with them on some social media. You can place, I want to sell 1 million token or 10,000 token, name your price, or soon it will be ability to follow the market. Whatever the price is, you can say, I want to sell above X% or below 3%, a few percent. And that's it. And people can take fraction of that. They don't have to take it all. And you don't have to relist it. It's automatically relisted for you with the leftover. So you can see here that, for example, for Smart, those are the basically ask orders. Now, I know that, you know, the reason that we have the chat, the Telegram chat, is because I'm using it to get feedback for our team, what's not working, right? So it's very important to me to have a playground that we can test stuff. And when people complain, I take seriously those complaints by see if there is a technical issue behind it or not. So that's why I keep in it. Now, a lot of time people come in those chat and there is a few people that they're very noisy and they're talking a lot of, you know, fad all the time. You can see a lot of fad. Hey, when we can flip our token, when we can sell our token, once it's going to launch, when it's going to launch. I mean, I never met investor that invest in startup and say, where's the IPO? Where's the IPO? When investor investing in startup, first they know that it's not run of one day. They know it's basically can take a few years. Second, they know that 98% of the startup fail. So they take it under consideration when it comes to risk. And third, they all the time care about when you're going to start to generate income stream. Because once you have an income stream, that means that there is client, that means that whatever you're selling is needed, that means it can start to be scalable. Nobody think about who is going to buy me out. Of course, it's the end goal for investors, but that's not what they are driving themselves when they try to support their own startup. And in our group, there is a lot of, not a lot, but a small group, very noisy one, that doing a lot of noise about it. And I decided a long time ago that I don't want to ban anyone. I never banned anybody before. I decided to give to other investor, big investor, the control over the Telegram. And if they think it's okay with me. If they think that those guys hurting the project and risking their own investment, they can do whatever they like, including ban them out. So I'm ignoring those noise and let people the freedom of speech to do whatever they want and take decision if they're okay with that or not. That being said, I just want to show you the reality, because when you have a small group of people doing noise all day long, you do not see the majority that it's silent, right?
Yeah, but Yoda, I mean, the thing is, bro, is that it's not just a small group of people. A lot of people wrote this stuff off already because it's already been 2 years since they got into it. And I mean, we're talking about, you know, transparency. When we originally got in, which my group invested over $500,000 with you, we were told that it was going to launch within a few months. I understand, you know, the holdback and everything that happened, but you know, at some point, there's got to be transparency with all the investors saying, okay,
all right,
you guys.
So let's cover. It's part of our covering what's happened and what's going to happen, right? So you need to understand that when we basically start to build stuff and we raise the money. And by the way, today we never raise money anymore for project that under building. We decided that we don't want to do it anymore. We decided that first we'll finish to build the project completely, test it out, and only then raise money for that in order to do marketing. But we no longer raising money to build something. So bottom line, when we built Smart, right, and Smart back then, the MVP was exist at the time of the fundraising, if everybody recall. There was a long journey basically to keep going over barriers that wasn't clear from the get-go. But that being said, there is a separate when project going live to when the token going live. They are not correlated, right? Because when you have a token, you basically need two stuff. Either you need to have a good momentum that in the market there is a bull run and everybody bullish on almost every token that is out there and they're pumping that, or you have a business that's generating income stream and you're basically driving some of that income stream in order to buy back the token and keep pumping that. Now, a lot of token in the market working in the wrong way. I mean, the wrong way when you're looking on long destination. Some of them selling equity. And it's ridiculous because if somebody buying an equity from a company that is supposed to be decentralized, that means that this person cannot vote with his shareholders, shares. He cannot vote on the smart contract, right? And he cannot engage with the money because if the money is digital, somebody as an intermediate need to touch the money and transfer it to you. So it's not really decentralized. Second, if you're selling token, and most of the projects in the world selling tokens, it's also wrong because if you're looking on Uniswap, Uniswap, for example, is a good example for solid business, right? They have basically user selling stuff and buying stuff all year long. If it's a bear market, they're buying. If it's a if it's a bull market, they're buying. If it's a bear market, they're selling. So they're generating all year long fees, right? Let's say $1 billion a year fees, and they're giving 80% of that fees back to LPs. But basically, there is no correlation between this beautiful business to the UNI token. Which means if the market goes down, UNI token may crash 50%, 70%, whatever, but nobody counting that it's a running business that's running $1 billion income stream. Now, if they will do what we do, which is basically not token and not equity, what we're doing is basically that instrument that is different type of token, which is royalty, which means every time there is a dollar coming in the door, we take percentage of that and not 5% or 20% or 50%. We take 80% of the growth, not net growth. We're taking 80% of the income stream and using it to buy the token from the market, which means it's pumping it and then removing it from the circulation. So it's like double down, right? And by doing it like that, if the business is truly needed and it's truly useful for the user, and that's the key. If you have a business that is not useful, you will do 5x, 20x, 40x, 100x from $5,000 to $50,000, but it's a fiction. I saw a lot of people launching tokens during the bear market with $5,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 liquidity and bumping it to 300,000 and claim that they had 40x, right? But when you have 40x and the business does not continue, that means that if somebody made 40x, the next guy cannot make 40x, and the last guy definitely lost 40x because it's a zero-sum game. Somebody needs to pay the price, which means if you don't have a business that's selling and people keep buying and keep paying for fees to keep running the oil and the gas to keep pumping the business, that means that is a pyramid scheme. One guy made 100x, the other guy lost his entire money, right? And most of the project basically pump and dump scheme by a few months or few days or few weeks, depending what are they. So it makes sense that if you just try to flip a coin, go copy something, call it banana swap, launching it on different chain, and then take profit after a few days and walk away. But it's not going to survive. It's not a business. It's not going to survive. And what we did, the royalty token, basically say if we have a business that's really working, and that's the key, then the income stream, the 80% of that go by to the token holders, right? In real time, not distribution, like in real time, they are coming in, 80 cents going to investor right away. And that's the business model, and that's the entire magic of all our projects. Now, that being said, if you're looking on the reality of the Damper Shield, so for example, you can see here that the people that list opportunity for sale, even though there was a 60 transaction with almost 3 million tokens sold already, but you can see that less than 1% of the holders actually list for sale their tokens, right? So there is no like 2%, 5%, 10%, 20% that you say, oh, a lot of people selling it. Minority of the people actually selling it. Now, if you're diving in to see how much they're selling it, you can see that the majority of them selling it above the purchasing price. So if the purchasing price, let's say, is 1 cent, because by the end of the year is supposed to get the bonus token, you can see that the majority selling it on 4x, 5x, 3x more than what they bought it for. And you can see there is no much even supply, right? So obviously some of the people that not only listing for sale, some of them listing to buy, right? So you can see here some guy want to spend $5,000, almost $6,000 to buy token, but he's looking to have a deep discount, right? But people do not agree with that. A lot of people say, oh, no, thank you, right? So when you see people in the group, in the chat, yelling about, hey, when the token will be launched, what that mean? Let's say today I'm open a liquidity pool and list the token, right? What will happen? Whoever is a fast finger will dump, right? Whoever not will basically stay behind, and there is no buy pressure, there is no bull market. So that's it. That's it. What? We try to satisfy 5% of our token holders and punish the other 95%. And also, after we finish to raise the money in the end of 2021, the bear market start. So it doesn't even make sense to basically launch a token during a bear market if there is no basically income stream starting to the project to support that during the bear market. So you need to be reasonable about, first, do we have not working product? Do we have a product that people like? Is it good? Is it solving an issue? Is it solving a pain? People need it. Is it generate income stream that can support and come and basically buy the token out and burning and increase the value? If we don't have this part, what is it that we have? Nothing, right? So this is the main part to focus on. Now, I don't know how to tell you that, but there is no way that, at least I never saw something like that before. There is no way that there is any startup in the world that being created and from the get-go, whatever is said, become to be, holy moly, right? A unicorn. No, a lot of projects have to be changed. I mean, Uber wasn't Uber, YouTube wasn't YouTube, Airbnb wasn't Airbnb, Facebook wasn't Facebook, LinkedIn wasn't LinkedIn, Google wasn't Google. There is no way that you cannot pivot. It's part of the game. And if some of you ever invest in startup or understand startup, you know that when you're fundraising money, you not only need to have a runway, you also need to have a buffer for pivots, because sometimes it takes 2, 3, 4 pivots to find what works in the market. And that's what we did. We fundraised money not only to have enough money to pivot and developing, but also we used that money in order to build extra project around the ecosystem. So all the projects that we have, not just the Dumper Shield, which is basically, by the way, I didn't talk about the gateway, which is extremely powerful tool of the Dumper Shield. So the idea of the gateway beside the OTC is that, let's say you have a token in the market that is trading on Uniswap or PancakeSwap or whatever, right? And obviously now everybody can come and add the token here to the Dumper Shield. It's already been open a few days ago. So once you're adding your token to the Dumper Shield, imagine that is trading, let's say, on the market for $1, right? So what the gateway is doing, the gateway is basically taking the orders that other people placing or you by yourself placed, and then is driving them out of the Dumper Shield, which means there is a technology that go to Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, all those places, taking your token and selling that over there and drive money to you. And the way that he's doing it in a very smart way, because it's not just take your token and dump it on the market and crash the market price for everybody else. What he's doing is waiting for appreciation, which means if the token in the market is $1, but tomorrow it's become to be $1.10, which means 10% appreciation, then the gateway will take some of your tokens, sell it into the market, but you will reduce that appreciation by 50%, which means to $1.05. So what that means, it's always going to allow the token in the market to keep appreciating, but every day will take a little bit of the liquidity that exists in the market from appreciation, and it will drive it to basically to the Dumper Shield to buy out the biggest dumpers, wherever is the biggest dumper and is the bigger risk for the token, the community, it will be bought first, right, and removed from the Dumper Shield. Now, in the Dumper Shield, there is one more thing I want to cover because it's also important for you, which is something called positions. So what that means is that when you have in the Dumper Shield And by the way, Dumpershare is also going to have virtual vaults soon. So unlike the guy that parked $5,000 or $6,000, he actually parked money. With the virtual vault, you don't need to. You can put money in your virtual vault and you can place as many orders that you like. It doesn't cost you anything. And only when your order gets accepted, then your money will be in use. So that will allow you to place a lot of order with the same money. And we have positions in the Dumpershield, first, second, and third position. What that means is that if somebody investing in Smart, it will be first position, right? If somebody bought a token, it will be first position. But if somebody relocate, right? Let's say somebody transfer from Smart to Degen, from Degen to PDO, from PDO to Dumpershield. If somebody moving between all our tokens, it will be able to move with the same face value. Now, why it's important? It's important because if you invest in a project that we built, I talked a few minutes ago that building something that people need is priority number one. Generate income stream is priority number two, right? But you do understand that it's not make sense, absolutely not make sense, that all our projects are going to make it. It's impossible. 98% of the startups fail. So you cannot accept that if we have 10 or 20 projects, that all of them will be successful. It's impossible, right? So what happens if you invest in the wrong project? Let's say you bought a token of Smart and it did great, but whoever invested in Degen did wrong, or whoever buy PDO did it better. What happened when suddenly one of the projects become to be a unicorn, but the one that you invest in not? Or what happened that you invest in a unicorn and your project become to be 100 or 1000x, but there is no enough daily liquidity, right? The fact that you made money on paper doesn't mean that you can exit immediately, right? What if there is not enough liquidity in the market for you to exit? So the idea of the router will allow you to move, to relocate your token between all our projects. So if you suddenly see a NFT token or Dumpershield token that is about to boom and you think that it's better for you to change position, you'll be able with the same face value, right, of whatever your token is, to basically burn it and get a new token into that new project, but you will come as a second position. What that means is that when the gateway will drive liquidity to user behind the Dumpershield, it will first satisfy the first position. Think about it like in the real world, it's called like in the stock, right? When you have stock in the company, think about it like preferred stock. They will be satisfied first because they invest in that project, but whoever transfer from different project will be right after them as a second position. And once we will do marketing and we have a